name a player who hasn't played as well as you thought he would, and I will as well.
Well, I'm actually going to say Deebo Samuel because I was on the other side of that. I obviously take what you said into consideration, but I figure, okay, give him a couple weeks. He'll be fine.
Fair.
He's not playing horrible by any means. He's still on pace for like 1,200 yards in a 16-game season. It's not atrocious.
True. No.
But the impact of which he's had on the games has been not near what it was last year. Last year, his thumbprint was on every single win down the stretch. Every single one of them was like,
he was the best player in the league, dog.
Deebo did that. Yeah. Deebo did this. And you just don't see it. And I was shocked. I think I was more shocked by the fact that what they did to the Rams without Deebo, that was shocking to me. Yep. Because if we knew that Deebo wasn't going to play, we might have both picked the Rams to win that game.
Can I say something really controversial?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to whisper it to you. They were better without him against the Rams. They were better without him. They were. Yes, because they've been forcing the ball to him as the number one option all season. Finally, they take him out. They get rid of his poor routes and his drops, and all of a sudden the whole offense goes through Kittle, Ayuk, and McCaffrey, and those guys are all playing very well this season. And now it's like the offense scored 31 points. Now Deebo has to come to terms with the fact that they don't need him anymore. Now, they can use him, and they can benefit from him, but they don't need him. He needs to come back and fill a role, not be a superhero. It's a great thing because he's not in condition to be that superhero anymore. They're better.
Yeah, I think, let's be clear. You add Deebo, you've got more talent.
But they got to find the perfect balance here. And they were overusing him early in the season. Taking him away, it worked. And so now they can reinsert him into the offense, but in a prudent manner.
I think everybody after the Christian McCaffrey trade has to be understanding that their touches are going to go down. They just are. And Kittle's touches
except for Ayuk.
I agree.
They don't need to cut into Ayuk's touches. He's killing it. He's had a great year from freaking May until now. And I think the combination of McCaffrey and Ayuk is devastating because Ayuk can really get down the field, and he's the one guy that's not a check down option on this team. And frankly, the offense didn't really kick into gear against the Rams until Ayuk got involved in the third quarter. I'm just saying.
I'm curious to see how the Deebo thing plays because, in my opinion, with Christian McCaffrey, I think this offense would be at its optimal performance if they had another player more like Ayuk, who's more of a route technician on the outside. You have two guys that can just route people up and down the field. You got Christian McCaffrey to be your check down guy. Kittle can go do his thing. I think that offense would flow a little bit smoother than an offense that's kind of redundant with Deebo and Christian. But, that's on Kyle. He's got to figure that out. And it's not a bad problem to have. You have a lot of talent. You have it everywhere. It's just, to me, if I'm building out the team, I would like to see a little bit of a different skill set with some of those guys. But we'll see how it plays out.
It's fair to wonder
for me.
It's fair to wonder, though, what Deebo's going to give you this year because he's been playing catch-up all year. You didn't go to OTAs and minicamp playing catch-up. Came into training camp overweight, playing catch-up, trying to get into shape. And just at the point of the season where you should be rounding into shape, you pulled your hamstring. So I think it's fair to wonder if this is going to be kind of like a 2020 season. I haven't named a player yet. A player who hasn't played as well as I thought he would. Eric Armstead. He's been MIA the whole year. And I always felt like, he's a little overpaid and, they're paying him really to be a pass rusher. And even though he's a great run defender, you don't spend that kind of money on run defenders. But he is an impact player, even though he's overpaid, in my opinion. He's still an impact player. He creates pressures in the pass game, and he is a monster in the run game. And he has just been totally not there. He got hurt on the first play of the first day of training camp, and he's been playing catch-up ever since. He got hurt. He got plantar fasciitis. Somehow he was working his way back and hurt the other foot. And they keep saying, yeah, we hope maybe next week, and nothing. And they're saying, like, maybe after the bye week. I hope so, because they're paying him so much money, and they kept him over Buckner. And in a lot of ways, they could justify it. He is a very good player, but he's been, the number one ability is availability. He had it like the last 3-4 years, but now it's like, dude, are you ever coming back? What's going on? I don't know if they can really win a Super Bowl without Armstead being a part of this team. I mean, he is important.
No way. No, he's that important.
Yeah.
I talked about this, excuse me.
It's not his fault that he's not his fault that he's injured either.
No.
It's not his fault that he's injured. But like, this is the same thing. It's the same thing I got into with Kinlaw. Sorry to bring this. It's like, I'm not criticizing the player for getting injured. That's fucked up to criticize a player for being injured. I'm criticizing the front office. You invested big in this dude, and he's not giving you anything. Man, you projected that he would, and he's not. And Buckner's over there, plugging away week after week, available. So it's not a knock on Armstead. It's a knock on the team, whatever, for penciling him in as an impact player once again. So that's my disappointment. Sorry, just want to put that out.
We talked about it yesterday on my show, and we said if there was one player you could bring back, essentially, would you bring back Deebo or Armstead? And we're like, Armstead. If we can get one guy healthy after the bye week, Armstead, hands down, that is the most important player to get back over Deebo, which is crazy to say, but Armstead's that important. And I've got to wonder, Grant, they were in on Deron Payne, who I talked about a couple weeks ago on your show, they were in on him at the deadline. Schefter reported that. I also heard they were in on another defensive tackle. What does that mean? Does that mean that they know Kinlaw's not going to play, or does that mean they know that Kinlaw and Armstead aren't going to play?
Good question.
What does that mean? I don't know, but it tells me that they know they need a difference maker at that position, regardless of what's going on. So that's a little concerning.
It is. Take a couple questions, and then we'll get back to our stuff. Professor Lawless is late to this chat today. However, you weren't wrong about this team. Thank you. Let's not be fooled again this year. Thank you. Not getting tricked again. LOL. We won't be fooled again. Jason says, which game are you both looking forward to the most? Do you think JV can make a real impact, or is he washed? Man, I don't want to make a prediction on that.
I don't either.
I don't want to make a prediction on that. That dude, Jason Verrett, has been through hell. How could you not root for him? I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not gonna predict that he'll make it through, but I'm not rooting against him. I'm not picking against him. What was the other?
If he can, let's just say this. I don't know how he's progressing with the injury. I don't know why they keep holding him out. I don't know if he's got any chance to play, but if he does, I do imagine that he would make a real impact. Yes. He's got a lot of skill. He's a very good football player.
Just to pump the brakes on the expectations, not only is he, look at Klay Thompson right now. Really struggling. This guy is about 31. He's coming off another ACL. When he tore it up in 2020, which was just a phenomenal year. Great story. He had the full training camp. With no setbacks. So they're trying to bring him in mid-season. He had no training camp. Nothing. So I don't think you can expect him, even if he does play this coming week after a bye week, to make a big impact. I think it's all very they should be looking at gradual. I don't know what the word is, but
just kind of mix him in slowly.
Build him up very slowly. And I think the goal should be next year. I know he's getting old, but can you really hope that he's going to be a shutdown corner in the next 2-3 months?
No, and I don't think he will be, but I also don't think he has to be. Like in 2020, they needed him to be that.
Just be better than Lenore.
Right. In 2022, I think he can do that. And with the talent on defense, Grant, they don't need him to be a shutdown. That would be great. But if he's 80%
just
of
be
what
a
he
number
was,
two. Be a second.
He can be a number two. Exactly.
That's fair. Professor Lawless says, it would be nice too. Hold on. Because they could put Lenore back in the slot and they could put Jimmy Ward back at free safety. I don't know what it is about Kyle and D'Amico. Look, nothing against Tashawn Gibson. Gip, as we call him. He played his position and filled his time. Jimmy Ward is way better than him. And I feel like they're framing it as we're playing Jimmy Ward at nickel because we have to, because we're so decimated at corner. Okay.
We
Well, I
lost
don't
one guy.
necessarily believe you. I feel like part of me feels like part of you thinks Gibson's better, and you're wrong. You're wrong. Nothing against Gibson, but Jimmy Ward was a top 100 player in the NFL last year at free safety. So if Jason Verrett can hold it down on the outside and Lenore can go back to the slot, then Jimmy Ward better freaking go back to free safety. Otherwise, I'm calling shenanigans. Shenanigans.
Two things real quick. I want to answer the other part of his question. The game I'm looking most forward to is Miami versus the 49ers. So that's the one I'm looking the most forward to. But I think
I'm looking forward to Niners in Seattle. I want to see that. That's always fun. That's
Niners in Tampa is a good one too.
That's a good one too. That is.
Yeah,
that is.
That's a lot of fun.
That is. Also, the Mexico City game is going to be dope.
That'll be.
Arizona's done a very good job against the Niners the last couple of years.
They really have.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
Especially their defense. Their defense has done a really good job against Kyle. Vance Joseph is good.
Yeah.
He is,
no doubt about it.
I'm trying not to pull a Colin Cowherd today where I just confidently say someone who's not on the team.
As far as playing Jimmy Ward at nickel, I think what they're trying to do is they're just trying to get their best players out there, and Jimmy Ward's versatile, so they do have that going for him. And maybe they look at it and say, okay, well, after the injury, we feel more comfortable playing Gibson than we do Womack at this point. And so we'll play Gibson where he can be his best, and we'll put Lenore on the outside and Ward on the, is a nickel. And that's what we'll roll with. Maybe a little out of position, but we're getting our best players on the field. I got to believe there's some of that goes into it as well.
Yeah, but from Jimmy Ward's perspective, it's like, okay, you just brought in Christian McCaffrey, so that means you're not going to re-sign me next year. So that means I'm going to be a free agent. And not only that, but you're now playing me out of position, so I can't enter free agency saying I'm a dope safety. I'm one of the top 5-10 safeties in the league. Break me off. No, I'm that dude who got replaced by Tashawn Gibson, who was a street free agent and then had to play nickel. Like, that sucks. If I were Jimmy Ward, I'd be super pissed. If I was agent, I'd be pissed as fuck. So, the Niners act like they're like a player-friendly organization. They just traded Jeff Wilson Jr. to the Dolphins for pennies on the dollar to do right by their guy. All right, well, then do right by Jimmy Ward, who's still on your fucking team, man. What the fuck? Sorry.
Yeah.
For cursing, but it's Niners After Dark.
Jaquaski
Tart's
they
on my
also
side.
didn't do right by Jimmy Garoppolo either. They should have cut him and let him go pick his team, but they didn't do that either. So they're going to do what's best for them.
That's true. Professor Lawless says, I don't think it's not that Deebo is not as good as necessarily. It's just teams knew what to expect this season. Kyle's not drawn up anything different. Well, let me allow me to retort, as Samuel L. Jackson would say. He's not getting down the field. Last year, his average depth of target or average depth of catch was like 8 yards down the field. With Jimmy, now it's like 3. That's on him. So I don't know, man. And his drops are up too, and his body fat percentage. I'm sorry, it's on him. I think he needs to do better, man. I think he could do. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he was I thought he was the best player in football last year, and he's so far from that right now. He's not even the best player on his team or his offense. I mean, he's like third best. So, Deebo, it's time. We're calling you out. You are a primo athlete. Like, prove us wrong right now. And if the Niners win the Super Bowl.
You're getting paid. So
yeah. Over under 1.5 injuries during the bye.
God, hopefully under, please.
Pete says the offense needs to run through everyone, not one guy.
I don't disagree with that.
Official BNA Music 88 says CMC as OPOT dub,
Offensive
but
player of the
people
week.
said I know. People said it was Jimmy Garoppolo's 84 completion percentage. They did have an instant chemistry though. I'm gonna give them that
for sure.
Instant chemistry
and CMC does bring an element that he hasn't had in the past. I'll give him that as well.
Daniel says Country Music Channel will line up in slot 70% of the time once Deebo and Elijah come back, 30% backfield, but mostly for screens, checkdowns, in my honest opinion. I 100% disagree with you, Daniel. He is going to use this guy like he's Terrell Davis. They are not messing around with this team right now. Yeah, they're going to throw it to him a little bit. 27 touches. Dude, that was not by mistake. They are just getting warmed up. Kyle
They
Shanahan
can,
doesn't.
please, God, do not do this.
They're
Do
going
not
to.
do this.
They need to rotate linebackers. Greenlaw getting busted up, says California Bear. He's already, he is busted up. But
Well, bye week,
so is
hopefully.
Aziz. Eddie Marco says, are the Niners legit after beating the Rams or fraud?
Who knows?
I feel like you can't really say either way. It's the freaking Rams. I can say that what the Rams are. They're freaking awful. All right.
Rams are terrible. That's a terrible.
They're so
football
bad.
team.
They're a
football
joke.
team.
They're awful. What they did was they went all in for their Super Bowl and got it. Hats off.
Right.
Hats off to them. Those guys will be champions the rest of their lives, and they can always have that ring right here. But that team is fucked.
It's over for them.
Team is fucked. McVay should have left last year, baby. They're done, baby.